There is a video explaining the rules of these speedruns. If you don't care, here you go. Ah, yes, the search bar. All right, let me see. What is the hotkey for onion skin? You know what? Let me just see if I can bind it manually. Oh, it just doesn't exist. Oh, okay. That's cool. Let's see. Hotkey sticks and exposures. Not real. All right, well, that was completely fucking useless. All right, let's just see what hotkeys we have. Shift, space, Control, Alt, S. Okay, let's try this out. It's supposed to be Shift, space. Oh wait, Shift, space, Control, Alt, S. Yeah, no, these hotkeys are awful. We're not doing hotkeys. You know, maybe Flash isn't that bad. Maybe I am crazy, man. This is Blender. I don't fucking know what version. It's fucking Blender, dude. We're gonna click 2D animation because we're 2D animators. Here's our workspace. Disgusting, ugly, messy. I can't stand it. But we're not here to criticize this. We're here to learn this. First things first, to zoom in, use the wheel, and to pan, you hold shift and click in the wheel. Let's say you don't hold shift and you click in the wheel. What? I just broke in. I'm in 3D mode now. You're gonna do this a lot. To fix this, you're gonna go to the camera mode over here and click that, or you can press numpad 0. Let's get into draw mode, which is what we're in because we're gonna draw things. So right now, these are all our draw tools right here on the left. Let's get into the brush tool. So we have the brush selected and we're in pencil mode. So if you want to change that, you actually have to go right above draw into this tiny, tiny little icon. And these are all our nibs that we can change to. It's crazy. It's Blender, baby. So let's go into our stroke type. These are like sub nibs. These are all awful. Just have it on solid stroke for its lining. Do not worry about these ones. They're terrible. Let's go into color mode. So there are two types of coloring in Blender: material coloring and vertex coloring. Make sure to click this little blocky guy, change this to black. You can either use the color wheel or the palette. There is a use for material coloring, and we'll get to that once we actually get to using the fill tool. Let's get into adjusting the nib size. Radius is the fucked up name for nib size here. And if you click this, it turns on pressure sensitivity. Opacity is strength is the fucked up name of opacity for the brush. So if the less strength it has, the less strong the brush is. So have that maxed out. Let's get into the advanced brush settings. These are where you will get all your line nuance and everything like that. Input samples is essentially like a mini stabilization. So based off what I've noticed, the less it has, the more, like, the slower the responsiveness is. So I just have this maxed out because I like a responsive nib. Active smoothing is what it sounds like. It's an active smoothing tool. If you have any jaggy lines, it'll tend to make them rounder. Angle and factor are just a flat nib, and this is to adjust the angle of that flat nib. And hardness is how hard you have to press the brush to make it work. This sucks. The less you have it, the harder you have to press, and make sure this is always maxed out. Stroke. So these are all the post-processing, like, just autocorrect functions of smoothing that you would probably know from like typical animation softwares from like Flash and Harmony. It sounds what it sounds like. So if you have this off, it's just not going to autocorrect as much, and you're going to have kind of like, see how they're slightly jaggy. So, all right, for the stabilization, it's going to be right here at the down. This is to clean up. It only has one type of stabilization, and that's pulled string. I hate this type of stabilization, but it's free. What are you going to do? Don't even worry about cursor, okay? I'm going to draw some strokes so we can get to the eraser tool. There are three types of erasers. It's right under the paint bucket. There's dissolve, which is kind of close to your typical eraser. This eraser sucks. Do not use this eraser. There's point, which deletes the vertex points. This is the one I like using for cleaning up typically. And then there's stroke, which is completely deletes all the stroke. So this is really good if you have like a ton of messy lines. That's why I like that nib. Let's get into the timeline. Okay, so here is our timeline at the bottom. To zoom into the timeline, use the wheel. So I want to not see hundreds. I want to see single frames. So I'm going to keep zooming until I see that. Good enough. Okay, summary is everything in our timeline. Don't delete anything there. You will regret it because you will delete everything. This little stroke thing is technically like a layer folder, and these are our actual layers. And if you want to add more layers, you click this little plus sign right next to key, and that adds another layer. So that's that. Now let's get into these items over here. This is the name of our layer. To change that, you can double click that. This is our layer opacity. You can change that over here, or if you want some more specific, right over here on the right, we can change that as well. This little dot is for masking. This is for onion skin. There's no onion skin hotkey that I know of. It would say, so yeah, this is Blender, baby. This is to make sure what layer is visible, and this is for keyframing. Don't worry about that. This is to lock the frame. Let's get now into adjusting our onion skin setting. We're going to go to this little green fly thing, object data properties. Here is our onion skin settings right at the bottom. I set my custom colors to green. What the fuck? Red. and green. Why the fuck was it? That's so bad. Anyways, so I'm going to set mine to, I'm just keep it at 1 frame. I'm drawing circles, dude. So yeah, this is where you set your onions, exposures, and such. That's essentially that. Let's get into animating. Let's fucking delete this thing. All right, let's get this. Go. And to scroll through the timeline, this hotkey is the only one I know. It's just the arrow key, so. All right, here is our animation. So playback, you just press spacebar. But I don't want to play all that back. So if you want to set a loop, you have to go right over here to end, and then just set it to 18. Here's our loop. Okay, it's a little fast, so let's adjust our frame rate. To adjust the frame rate, we have to go to our export settings. Let's go to our space station to the right. See this little printer right here, output properties? This is where we can adjust the active resolution of the project and the export and active frame rate of the project. So I'm going to set mine to 12, or custom, and set this to 12 to see what it's going to look like on 2s. Oops. And actually, it looks perfect on 2s. Wow. Okay, so we'll leave it on 2s. I don't have, well, you know what? I have to show you how you do these anyway. So we're going to set it back to, oh God, 24, not adjusting exposures, anything but this. This is arguably the most ridiculous and miserable part of fucking Blender is adjusting exposures, because there is no hotkey for it. So what you have to do, we're going to hit, I believe it's A. Yes. And then always have, you got to have this marker ahead of the frame you want to extend. Then you're going to press E. Don't click, just move your mouse. That's how we're going to extend exposure. So, Jesus fucking Christ. You have to have it after, or else it's going to fuck up and delete frames too. So you have to have your cursor after. It's just, this is so toxic. All right, change the end frame to 29. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now let's get into coloring this, the fill tool. Blender does this the service of being able to use the fill tool on different layers, but still being able to fill lines like this. So, oh, actually, so we're on the fill tool right now, but it's not filling, but it is filling. We're just not in fill mode. We have to go to solid fill so we can actually fill this. That's right. This is Blender, baby. We'd have to manually color these. I'm not going to do that. Or am I going to do that? Do I really? I'm going to just color these 3. All right. So let's say I want to change the color of all these circles, right? I would have to do it manually because I am doing vertex coloring. This is where material coloring comes into play, right? So we're going to click material coloring over here. We're going to go to our space station to the right. Click this little circle, material properties. We're going to go to this plus and make a new material. We're going to make new. Call this, I don't know. Yeah. All right. We're going to click not stroke, but fill. Then change this. Make this a little bit lighter. Blue. Okay, cool. Let's color this with that. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, whatever. Let's say I don't like this blue. I don't have to manually color them. I can just change the color of the material, and it changes every color as well. That is why you would want to use the material coloring, is if you colored a ton of frames and you don't want to do this all at once, color them with material. That is the point of that. Let's get into, oh, you thought this was clunky? Let's get into the workspaces within the workspaces, baby. I'm going to draw a face. Draw a face. Man, that's really high. So if we want to use the select tool, we have to click draw, and we have to select edit mode. Here is our select tool, all our transformations right here. Pretty self-explanatory. You just highlight it by holding in right click, click the move tool. There you go, baby. That's how you do that. That is essentially the select tool. All right, let's get into another workspace so we can import images for reference and video. So we're going to go to object mode, add. We're going to go to image, reference. Wait, I don't see any of my videos. What the hell? That's because you haven't activated it. So we're going to go to this martini glass, turn on movie files, and now we can see all our videos. Cool. I'm going to import this picture of Adam Sandler and this clip of Marvel 3. Low reference. All right, awesome. These will not be in the final render. They're only for reference, okay? So let's go back to our stroke layers because we don't care about that. And now let's get into audio scrubbing. Oh, oh boy, my favorite. So for audio scrubbing, see these? These are all mini. They're all mini workspaces. So we're going to have to add another workspace, video editing, and then I'm going to drag my audio. So where is test first flash? Bam, that's right there in that timeline. So, okay, yeah, it's in 0. And then to make sure I get audio scrubbing, where it says playback, you're going to click audio scrub. Bam, that's audio scrubbing. So now watch this. Oh, you can't hear it. Oh, wait, whatever. Well, it's audio scrubbing, I promise you. That's how you turn that on. Let's get into exporting. Oh, the nightmare that this is. So we're going to go to the printer once again. 24 frames. All right, we're going to set our file format to FFmpeg, our output folder, to my desktop, so I know where it's at. Please, please just pick desktop, baby. Please do it for me, Blender. Thank you. Okay, so there we go. RGB, because we want it in color, I guess, and this, and if you want a black and white B&W. Encoding. These are all your options. I'm going to set it to MPEG-4 because I like MP4s. H.624 is the most common form of encoding. So this is all fine to me. Don't worry about any of the audio stuff. We're going to go to render animation. We're going to get this live render, and then it's going to show up in our desktop. So please. And here's our animation. That is Blender, baby. That is Blender. That's how you can animate in Blender. Oh my God, it's over. As I said in the rules, I am not even scratching the surface of these softwares. I'm just trying to help you animate a ball. You know, you have any corrections, leave it in the comment. Help people out. Be nice. I hope this helped, and if you want to see other runs or even more of my videos, just click any of these playlists or click my channel. Thank you so much.